Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope all of you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to be reviewing Ghostbusters 2. Ended up watching this one last night. And Ghostbusters 2, the events of this film take place 5 years after the events of the first film. And at this point, the Ghostbusters are pretty much done. They've all gone on to do other things. Ray has his bookstore. Egon is doing these experiments with people. And you have Vigman, who's like the host of his own TV show. And then they don't really state what Winstead is doing. He pretty much, is there, basically. But they do, at least Ray and Winston, they will dress up as the Ghostbusters for like birthdays and special occasions and things like that to make a little extra money. Well, they, at the beginning of the film, we see Dana, and her son, and she has bags of groceries. And as she's getting help, her, baby carriage starts to move on its own, and she's chasing after it. And as she gets close, it just keeps going. Eventually, stops in the middle of the road. This brings concerns, so she goes to Egon and talks to him about it. She tells her, you and Ray can come by, just don't tell Peter, because at this point we kind of don't know what has happened between the two. You kind of get a little bit of that, but at the same time, you do realize she did get married, but her marriage did not go well. She did have a son, Oscar, which is her baby boy. So, yeah, they don't put a whole lot on that backstory too much, which is a little unfortunate. I would have personally liked to see what would have happened between the, like, more detail on what happened between the two. But, Vakeman kind of realizes what's going on and gets ready to confess. So they go and see what's going on, try to get some, like radiation levels and things like that. Or I wouldn't say radiation levels, but whatever they do, they KGP or P, the Ghostbuster lingo basically. And one thing leads to another where they start to notice this, pink slime that's, under New York, and it has built up all due to the negativity of New York. And eventually, as they're trying to get samples and things like that, they let Vakeman know what's going on after, Vakeman and Dana basically kind of bury the hatchet. They go on a date. And at the same time, while this is happening, you have Dana working at this museum where she repairs paintings, and you have this big giant painting of Vigo, and it is possessed. Vigo kind of in some way controls the guy in charge, Dana's boss. I can't remember his name, and he is the actor from Porky's and Alec McBeal, so you will recognize him. But basically, um, while they're trying to go under construction to kind of get a sample and things like that, and the power goes out, they go to court. Of course, the judge, basically gets pretty negative, and it ends up causing the goo that is on top of the table of all the evidence of the proton packs and things like that, allows two ghosts that the judge ended up, sentencing to life in prison, and the chair basically come back as ghosts, and they basically have to save the day. The judge kind of overrules his decision, and they're back. We start to get more sightings and things like that. You do have this one character who's kind of similar to Walter Peck's character from the first movie. I believe that's the character's name. A little bit more annoying. I can tolerate the Walter Peck character, but this character, I really could not care less. He is kind of, the Ghostbusters are scam artists, stay away from the mayor, and things like that. Well, he kind of puts his foot in his mouth once things start to really get crazy. You do have the Titanic showing up, and even Cheech Marin has a small cameo in this, and he even states, well, better late than never, right? But yeah, it's a really fun sequel. I've always enjoyed this one. Yes, it's not perfect. Yes, it has its flaws, and not a lot of people like this movie, but I personally do. Of course, Vigo sends a ghost to basically take Oscar. He's trying, I guess, to reanimate himself, or kind of not reanimate, but like resurrect himself in some way, like possess Oscar. And of course, this, the Ghostbusters got to do what they need to do, and of course, that involves the Statue of Liberty. And you do have everybody returning. Rick Moranis, he becomes a Ghostbuster in this, which I thought was cool. Oh, what is her name? I always forget her name. She's one of my favorite actresses, and she's a lot older, and she's like a celebrity crush. And I'm trying to see if she's in this. Um, Annie Potts. So yeah, Annie Potts returns, and you can tell, when did this come out? Because I feel like they did get some inspiration from um, the animated series. This came out in 1989. So you can tell Janine, who's played by Annie Potts, you can really tell she looks more like the cartoon version in some way, compared to the first movie. Like completely different, like character change. And I start to realize that it looks like they put more, kind of recreated her to look more like the cartoon version, which is completely fine with me. Um, but yeah, um, I would say this quality, this 4K quality, is a little bit better than the first film. It's very grainy in the first film. You do get some grain in this, but I feel like it's a little bit better. It's cleaned up a little bit better in this one, say compared to the first film, which is pretty interesting to say the least. But yeah, you just cannot go wrong with the Ghostbusters. You really can't. And Ghostbusters 2, I think, is a fun sequel. It is underrated, at least in my personal opinion, because it doesn't get the love that it deserves. It's not perfect. I think it's more of a, if I had to basically sum it up, I think it's the real Ghostbuster animated version sequel type of film. That's kind of the vibes I get in this. It's not as dark as the first film. I get more of like a cartoonish feel with this. And you do get some like cameos. Like I said, you get Cheech Marin, and the actor who plays Shia LaBeouf's father in the first three Transformers films, he's got a small little part in this. So recognizable faces, couple small appearances from a few well-known faces, and yeah, definitely one I think, in my personal opinion, that you guys should at least check out if you haven't. So that is my review for Ghostbusters 2. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the description below. Would love to hear your opinion. And if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. It is very much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. So with that being said, I'm Film Talk with Mike, and until next time, guys, we'll talk films. Peace.